What's up, guys? George Balekji here with Boston has entered the chat. But hey, get ready for a special Foxborough Rush dropping Monday morning. Mock Draft 5.0 coming out. Keegan Stiefel and I go through all 7 rounds with the Pats. Stick and pick. Don't go offensive tackle at 4, but go with an immediate impact at a premier position. Check that out on Monday. That'll be Mock Draft 5.0 coming out before the Patriots and the draft kicks off on Thursday. But also in the meantime, check out wherever you get your podcast to get the latest on Foxborough Rush, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. You could also watch it on YouTube as well. Now, let's get to the chat. What's up? What's happening?
Yeah.
Welcome in. It's Boston has entered the chat. George Balekji here with my main man, Travis Thomas. T, how we doing, bro?
Oh, hold on. Do-do-do. With the first pick in the Nesson draft.
Season desist. You can't use that sound.
Boston has entered the chat, has selected George Balekji, #1 overall, baby. Woo!
Real tears here.
Woo!
Dreamt up this day.
Would you thank me with your draft speech?
Yeah, of course.
Would I be the first person?
I got to thank mom and dad, baby Luca. Got to thank my main man, the Batman to my Robin, Travis Thomas.
Yeah.
You know,
well, you're the first
hard
pick,
work.
so I'd be the Robin to the Bat. You're the first pick,
I don't know about that. Let's be real.
Also, I can't use that. You're right. I can't use that draft.
Right,
noise.
there definitely would be
Sorry about that. We were flagged for
copyright
that.
infringement.
Yeah.
See, I'm excited, man.
I am too. It's finally here.
It's just a week away.
Yeah.
The draft. That mock draft that will be coming out Monday, I'm stoked about.
Yeah.
But also, as we got in this episode, we'll be talking with Connor Rogers. He's going to break down prospects. We're just going to go rapid fire, shoot from the hip, pop, pop, pop.
Boom.
What do you think of Will Campbell, Armand Membu, Josh Simmons, Donovan Ezaraku, our guy?
Yeah.
You know me. I love the pre-draft prospect process. I love diving into prospects, watching them, all the planning, the mocks. It's good when it finally arrives. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm stoked about. So we'll talk with Connor Rogers about that. We'll go through some what's trending. Talk about Nico Iamaleava, how he's just... I don't know if he's going to be playing college football.
He's expensive, George.
Yeah, it's nice to be expensive, but there has to be a market that's willing to pay that. So you got to be realistic. You could be expensive.
Yeah.
You could be talented. You got to be realistic. And we'll talk a little Celtics Magic as well. But now let's toss it to our interview with our guy, Connor Rogers of NBC Sports of the NFL Stock Exchange. Knows a ton about NFL prospects, his upcoming draft. We got it for you guys right here. He's Connor Rogers of NBC Sports. You could also catch him hosting the NFL Stock Exchange as well. Connor, this is the busiest time of year for you, man. This is the Super Bowl combined with New Year's Eve, with Christmas, with Thanksgiving, with your wedding, I would say, your grandparents' birthdays, too, all tied in. I appreciate you taking the time, my man.
Oh, it's always great catching up with you guys, and you nailed it. I feel like with football season, I don't celebrate any of those holidays anymore, so it's a really good way to sum it up. We get like Memorial Day weekend, 4th of July. Okay, I'll say goodbye to my family now, but you guys know how much I love this time of year.
Exactly, and that's why I'm excited to bring you on and get talking with you. And we're going to start. Let's label this a little tackle talk, because that's where it sounds like it's going to start with the Patriots, and they can go so many avenues at 4. But as Mike Vrabel comes out and says, premium positions are in the first round. Starters at left tackle, I see them in the first round. He's saying, okay, edge, receiver, corner. It's really tackle or edge for them that's in play. Will Campbell, he's a guy it started with. We know the measurables, but what do you see in him as a prospect?
Well, he's such an interesting player because my argument with Will Campbell is that I think he's the best offensive lineman in the draft, and I don't think he's a tackle. So it's weird, right? Because there's a lot of praise for him. I think he would transition really smoothly to guard. He's a really, really good run blocker. He's somebody to me that you see how he pass protects with a flat back where he could stall speed to power. He can kind of unlock power from his hips and anchor. But why he's not a tackle to me at the NFL level is that he'll get beat around that outside shoulder for lacking length, and then you'll see him start to set a little wider, and guys can cross his face. If anyone wants, you can turn on the South Carolina tape and see exactly what I'm talking about. And they had a really, really good front. Some of their pass rushers are in this year's draft. And I think when you look at Will Campbell, it comes down to wingspan, like 77 3/8 wingspan. That's 7th percentile all time at tackle. So we're talking about a massive, massive outlier. It doesn't mean he's not a great prospect, because he is, but you can kind of go back to maybe what Peter Skoronski went through a couple of years ago, where when Tennessee took him, they said, we're not even going to give him a look at tackle. And maybe Campbell gets a look at tackle where I think he'd survive there, but I want a franchise left tackle with a top 5 pick. I want a guy that could be one of the best tackles, best blindside protectors in the league for years to come. I think Campbell has way more upside at guard.
Yeah, and I like that you point that out. It's the thing. I don't want someone that can survive. I want someone that thrives and sticks at that spot. For my talking with the Patriots, right-handed quarterback. Okay, so Armand Membu. Josh Simmons. To me, those are the next two best tackles. I know your big boards are coming out as well, but sticking with those two, I feel like it makes sense as those are top three names and could be in the Patriots range. What do you see with Membu? Obviously, just turned 21, is a right tackle, but athletic. And Josh Simmons, of course, a left tackle, but coming off that torn patellar.
Membu, really explosive lower half. You don't see a lot of guys that play at 330 pounds, and everything in the lower half is that explosive. It's smooth. He can recover because he's such a good athlete, where in the first phase of the rep, a guy kind of surprises him with a move, but okay, I could redirect my hands and kind of be in sync with my lower half at the same time. You watch him in the run game. You turn on the tape against Oklahoma. It's just fun to watch him dump defenders with that strength. I still think he's learning how to use the lower half to anchor. Sometimes he'll get knocked back a little bit towards the pocket, but he's such a naturally strong guy that I feel like, and he's young too. He's going to be 21-year-old rookie. So you feel like that's only going to get better. It's on the right trajectory, but he played right tackle and he was a guard recruit. So is he going to be, for such a young player, ready to be thrown into the fire on the left side, or do you keep him comfortable on the right side? If I was taking Membu, I would want him to be comfortable on the right side. Now, I know New England did the right thing. They went out there and got a veteran in Morgan Moses, who Moses is still playing really, really good football. You just got to make sure his body doesn't break down throughout the season at this age. So it's going to be fascinating to see what is valued with Membu in terms of being maybe a right tackle only, or if teams project him bigger than that. When you look at Josh Simmons, this is somebody that had the chance to challenge to be the first tackle taken in the draft, but the injury was a significant one. He tore some ligaments in that knee. It's been a long road back. He's somebody that he played the softer part of Ohio State's schedule throughout those first 5 or 6 games. Looked phenomenal. Really wasn't challenged at all because he's got the size. He's got the athleticism, his movement skills to mirror pass rushers. You can get him working in outside zone where he can climb, he could pull. So you look at Simmons, teams are going to know more about the medicals than the general public and where they feel comfortable taking him, and how far he falls will kind of tell you how they feel about that. And then you also have to kind of say, okay, would he be able to keep up that level of play when the schedule got a little tougher and he faced some NFL caliber pass rushers? So I think Simmons is going to be more of a back end of round 1, top of the second round pick. I think Membu is going to be gone in the first 10 picks of this draft easily.
Okay, we talked Membu, we talked Campbell, we talked Simmons. I'm not hearing any Kelvin Banks. Now, I get it. At 4, it's a little rich. But if this team trades back, and there's still a scenario that Kelvin Banks ends up a Patriot. I remember talking to George and others when this stuff first came out and we started talking mock drafts. He was like a top 10 pick. Why the slide for him? And also, can you evaluate him in terms of if the Patriots do trade back and possibly get him later, what kind of player they would get in a Kelvin Banks?
Well, I love that you brought him up because I'm asking the same questions. I have him as the 13th overall player in the draft and the second tackle, only behind Membu, and it just doesn't feel like it's trending that way in the mock drafts with Banks. And nothing changed. This is somebody that he started at left tackle since his freshman season for Texas. He was playing left tackle for Texas, ages 18 to 20 years old. That is a remarkable feat when you look at the high level he was doing it at. He's a good athlete. He's got long enough arms. He's really smart. He's a hard worker. You watch him in the run game, it's a little Jekyll and Hyde. The highs are amazing. He could detonate defenders when his hands land correct. But I said this to him at the combine. I said, sometimes you got to dial it in, and you have those whiffs, and he's open to that. Like, there are a lot of whiffs on tape where you got to play controlled as well. And when you're such a good athlete at that size, that's going to happen. It's like you almost get too excited to absolutely plant someone that's 100 pounds or 70 pounds lighter than you. So I think Banks has put out really good pass protection tape. I don't know if this is a case of the league being quiet on him because somebody wants to take him higher than where he's projected to go. Like, would a Miami take him at 13? Would a Dallas take him at 12? Would he go even earlier than that? You look at New Orleans taking Fuanga last year. Would they say, we're going to double down on offensive line and go back to that well? And even the Jets at 7, although I don't think that's going to happen. But I think Banks has been overlooked throughout this process, which is kind of remarkable when you look at how young he is, the battle-tested nature of his game. And if New England, which I do think they're going to be answering those phones, I think we all feel that way to say, hey, is there a trade for us that makes a lot of sense? If New England moved back a handful of spots and Banks is still on the board with Membu and Campbell already gone, that's not the same level of downgrade to me that everybody else is making it out to be.
Yeah, that's a guy that, again, thrived left tackle spot in the SEC. And especially you touch on it, his young age, how athletic he is. Long, he has the frame you want for a left tackle. So you bring it up of, hey, maybe people are being quiet. They want to reach on him. Don't want the kickback that could come with that. But you also float out that the Pats could trade back. What makes sense to you of what happens at 4? We know what's happening 1 through 3. What would make sense to you if you're drafting for the Patriots and you're on the clock, pick up the phone or stick and pick at 4?
I would love to get out of this pick if I can, because it's a plateauing of the talent, right?
Yeah.
We, the consensus is that Carter and Travis Hunter are the best players in the draft, and they're kind of near a category of their own. The player from a talent perspective that I could talk myself into for New England at 4, but I don't think it's a dire need anymore, was Mason Graham. I think Mason Graham is a really good player. He's a stout run defender. He's a power pass rusher. But New England, I'm not worried about New England's interior of their defensive line. Now, they know more about where Barmar's at than us, but they've spent money on this group. And I think Vrabel can take depth defensive linemen later in this draft and develop them, where I don't think New England's a team that needs to take Graham at 4. So you look at it, if I like Tet McMillan a lot, and I'm confused why people have kind of soured on him as the best receiver in this draft if you take into account that Hunter isn't a full-time receiver. If you did, I'd say Hunter is the best receiver in this draft. So if you're New England, do you get out of 4? And is there a team that wants to come up? Now, the question is, what do they want to come up for? Is it Mason Graham? Is it Tyler Warren? The question, is it Armand Membu as well? If a team thinks they need a right tackle, say San Francisco wanted to come up from 11 and get a player like Armand Membu at 4, and New England goes back to 11. Is that a scenario where we talked about Kelvin Banks there? That makes sense. Do you still take Tet McMillan because he complements what Stephon Diggs does? You need a ball winner, right? You need somebody that's going to actually help Drake May on those contested catch situations as well. Or is that too early? I don't think it's early for McMillan. I think it'd be a really, really good fit. Do you honestly sit there and go, we just have the board a certain way, we think a Jalen Walker or a Tyler Warren is warranted in this spot as one of the best players in the draft? I have hesitations with Walker because I just don't know what he fully is. And then with Warren, I know he's a great player, but do you need to take a tight end in the top 5? It feels unlikely that that's kind of where the league is trending, as great as he is. So that's why I come back to a trade making the most sense for New England every time.
Man, I have so many follow-ups. George, you got to give me a floor for a second. I want to talk Tet McMillan, but let me go back. Because as you started talking about trade partners and who could be interested at 4, you named all these players. I didn't hear Shedeur Sanders. What the hell's going on here, Connor? I mean, it is lying season.
Yeah, it is.
But I'm seeing mocks where, like, Shedeur's going to the Steelers in the 20s. Like, is no one in love with this kid enough to move up to 4 to get him? He continues to slide, or is this lying season?
It'll be a really fascinating draft. It is lying season, and we're sitting there, and New England traded, and New Orleans came up from 9 to get Shedeur Sanders or whatever it may be. Right. That would be electric entertainment.
I'd love it.
I would be really surprised. Wow. I just look at it, just feels like with Shedeur, it's come a little full circle. Now, to be fair, we were talking about Shedeur months ago. The Raiders at 6. They went out and got Geno Smith for a good price. They paid a 3rd-round pick to go get Geno Smith. Geno's a good player in this league and comfortable with Pete Carroll. So that took away a really, really big landing spot. The Giants were in desperation mode, and I don't love Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, but it at least gave them somebody that can play, where I think the Giants want to get a premium player at 3, and I think they want to come back into round 1 for a player like Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, Jackson Dart, whoever it may be. Because I heard this with the Giants last year. I heard with the Giants last year that they were a team that they liked some of those quarterbacks that were taken, not in the top 3, but they wanted Malik Neighbors. And they said, if one of those guys fell, can we come back in? None of them fell. They all went in the top 12, so it wasn't even close. So maybe that's a strategy that they're comfortable with. But if I had to predict right now, New Orleans is the wild card because this Derek Carr injury came out of nowhere, and they are looking to be in shambles right now. And if they love Shedeur, take Shedeur. Like, why wouldn't you take him if you love him and you need a quarterback? But outside of that, guys, there's just not the landing spots. That's the problem. So I think it's more likely a team trades back into round 1 to take Shedeur. I don't think Jackson Dart is a lock to go in the 1st round, like a lot of people have been saying either. Okay. I just think teams don't love this quarterback class, to be quite honest with you.
The NFL draft is under a week away, so what do the Patriots do with the 4th overall pick? Tune into the special Foxborough Rush live show during the first round of the draft on Thursday night. Kicks off at 8 p.m. Watch myself and Travis Thomas on Nesson, or tune into the live stream on YouTube. Leave comments. We'll be up. No commercial breaks on the YouTube live stream. We'll take you through every pick, including the Patriots at 4. Also hear from NFL draft experts such as PFF's Trevor Sikkema, ESPN's Matt Miller, and NBC's, as you just heard him, Connor Rogers as well. That's a special live Foxborough Rush on NESN and NESN's YouTube page Thursday night, April 24th, starting at 8 p.m.
Yeah, I understand why. I want to ask, let's go back to Ted McMillan. So I saw an article you did of player comps. Everything I keep hearing about Ted McMillan is Drake London, Drake London, Drake London. You had a different perspective. Cortland Sutton. Why that and not a Drake London? Can you explain to me?
Yeah, I think the body types are very, very similar. I think the ability to win the ball with positioning and tracking and controlling their bodies and going above the rim is very similar. I think that Sutton had better agility than he got credit for. And I think that's a problem with McMillan right now. When you watch him after the catch on this year's tape, he can make people miss. He could set people up with power. I think he's shifty in his routes for his size. I think London was a pretty unique prospect, and it's almost like people are forgetting how good of a prospect he was. And let's not forget, until this year, he had nothing at quarterback in the NFL. So people kind of forgot about him when, what, do you want the guy to have 1,400 yards with Desmond Ridder? So it was just a little rich for my blood to compare him to Drake London. I think Sutton is a really good player in this league. He had some bad injury luck, but I think McMillan is much more similar to him, to the reach comparison is what I would call a Drake London comp.
Yeah, and I get that. What I like with Ted, he has that volleyball background, and that's how he plays. Times jump balls perfectly, snatches a ball out of the air.
Yep.
And it's just, again, it's with, you said it, the plateau of the draft is after pick 3. And that's where Ted is a wide receiver 1, but it's too rich to say take him out of 4. But in the trade back scenarios, you take a Ted at, say, 9. Trade back into the first and get that offensive tackle. It makes sense. But you also brought up Jalen Walker. And like you said, I don't know where to place him. I think he's better at edge. But at 6'1", it's tough to predict that with the guy. What do you see in a Jalen Walker when you're scouting him? And if you can make the comp for him, who do you compare him to?
Yeah, you don't get a lot of players like this, to be honest with you, that he doesn't have the prototypical length to be an edge defender. And then I don't really think he has the instincts right now to be an off-ball linebacker, but he's physical. He plays with violence. He does have pass rush ability. He can get off the ball. He's got heavy hands for his size. So the problem is the guys in previous years that we've done this with, that we like them as weapon linebackers in the middle of the field, haven't really panned out the way you hope all the time over the years. So Walker, I think the instincts will eventually catch up, that his off-ball ability on first and second downs will be fine. But will he ever be that dynamic pass rusher on the passing downs to take over is where I have some reservations of why I don't think he's a top 10 pick. I love the spirit he plays with. Once again, I love the violence he plays with. I think he plays fast, and you always want speed in your front seven, whether it's guys with range to the sideline that can eliminate the flats for those dump offs and swing passes to running backs, and also the timing as a blitzer as well. But does that warrant a top 10 pick in the NFL? In my eyes, that's a bit of a reach, and why it wouldn't be shocked if it happens, because I think teams like him. Carolina at 8 is kind of where it looks like things could be heading. But once again, it's just rich for my blood for New England at 4.
Yeah, and that's a guy that's caught steam at 4 for the Patriots, and that's coming from people that know people inside that building, but that's where the antenna goes up. Undersized, in between, it's the same thing as a Will Campbell. All right, if you don't want a Will at 4 because you're not sure where he lands,
that's
he lands to be a guard, what would you do with a Jalen Walker? So sticking with the edge then, we know edge 1 is Abdul Carter. Who's the number 2 guy in this draft for you?
I think far and away it's Mike Green from Marshall.
I
think
like
Green,
him, George.
I think Green is closer to Carter than Green is closer to the next guy. Wow. And it's just, this is, what's funny is the comp for him I had was Harold Landry, who Mike Vrabel knows a thing or two about. Yeah. So when you look at Mike Green, now 17 sacks, and the level of competition at times wasn't always great, but he also had really good tape against Ohio State. He hit a spin move against Ohio State for a sack that was just tremendous. He's got elite agilities. You look at the 6.853 cone, the 4.25 shuttle. Like, those are metrics that translate for a pass rusher because he can win on an island. He's agile. He's got a big-time wrestling background where you see the heavy hands. He's way better against the run than anyone gives him credit for because he's got such good grip strength to get off of blocks, and he's got a variety of moves. He understands just how to win with a variety of moves. He can counter move. He's so fast off the ball that he often doesn't have to because he's already dictating how the rep's going to go. But if a tackle that's more explosive kind of matches him, he has a counter move with his hands. I mean, you're talking about a 95th percentile pass rush win percentage. So he was just one of the most consistent disruptors in the country. But it's not the argument like a Michael Williams or Shamar Stewart where he didn't finish plays. He had 17 sacks. So he was disrupting and finishing plays because of that pursuit speed. And then the upper and lower half are just always working together. When you can generate power from your lower half, but also carry it into your hands, that's how you're going to be NFL offensive tackles. So I think Mike Green is a really, really good prospect and a future double-digit sack kind of a guy.
Gosh, I hate when you and George agree. It just drives me nuts. This guy, George, has been talking about Mike Green forever. Let me ask you this, because I'm stuck on wide receivers. I'm stuck on playmakers. I asked you about Ted McMillan. As you look later in this draft, names like Luther Burden, who, by the way, you compared to Brandon Ayuk. I thought that was interesting. Noel, Higgins. Who are some of the later wide receivers fit-wise, Connor, that you think make a lot of sense for New England? Because you know they're going to address it at some point in this draft, early or late or both.
Yeah, I'd like to see somebody with ball skills in this offense, right?
Yeah.
Somebody
Right.
that can be a little bit more physical against corners. Trey Harris comes to mind out of Ole Miss. I think Trey just has a knack for finding the ball, body positioning, being physical. He's a very, very physical blocker as well. They'd have him crack down on linebackers and ends. He's got a little bit of a different DNA that New England probably needs to add to that wide receiver room at some point. You need size at wide receiver. You can't have guys clogging the slot all the time. And that's why I look at Jaden Higgins as well. Maybe he's on the higher end of that because it feels like Higgins is trending towards being a top 50 pick with his athleticism, size, and production. He's played inside and outside as well. Jack Besh might have the best hands in the draft. So if you just want that target that can go across the middle of the field, play at about 220 pounds with his tight end background before moving to wide receiver, that would just be that safety blanket kind of valve for Drake May. You know, Elikai Manor, I have some questions about because he plays in a phone booth all the time, and it's a dangerous way to live at the NFL level when you're not creating separation, but you're just bodying people. But, man, you talk about the DNA that Mike Vrabel likes. Once again, one of the best blockers in this draft, physical after the catch, physical at the catch point as well. You know, if you want to go a little deeper than all that, though, Andrew Armstrong from Arkansas gets no love, no buzz. Size, tested well, plays with an edge. I think he plucks the ball away from his body consistently, so the hands are going to translate to the next level. I don't understand why nobody talks about this guy. He had over 1,000 yards in the SEC. He was really productive. He's a bigger wide receiver, so you believe you could play him on the perimeter, which he did play on the perimeter in that offense. He's super, super underrated and one of my day 3 favorites.
I love that. Andrew Armstrong, not on my radar at all. Now, see, this is what you do. We're just about a week out. I think Hayes in the barn. I know it's not for you. And then I'm like, all right, let me go check out Andrew Armstrong from Arkansas.
Watch Andrew Armstrong and let me know what you think. You got a full week here.
I will. I mean, I'll check. Exactly. We still got time. And we talk about the deep late receivers. But there's also the talks of, again, and I just think of Patriots. I try to play every scenario on the trade back. Ashton Ginty's not realistic where the state of this offensive line is, but a Tyler Warren could make sense. Ooh. And again, you accrue picks, trade back into the first, maybe move up in the second. It could be an Ursary. Josh Connolly would see. What is Tyler Warren to you? Like, what range does it make sense to take a tight end at? What part of the draft? And how do you see him translating to the next level as a guy that's so physically dominant?
Well, every draft is different, right? Because last year, Brock Bowers would be a lock for this pick at 4 with his talent.
Yeah.
But we had a quarterback, wide receiver, offensive tackle rich draft that Bowers fell because of that. But this draft is not as good as last year's. And it has depth, it has starters, but it doesn't have star talent. And Brock Bowers was a star as a prospect and quickly a star in the NFL. I don't think Warren is as good of a prospect as Bowers, but I think he should be drafted earlier than Bowers because of the class he ended up in. Sometimes that's the luck of the draw. So the combo for Warren, I think the door opens at 4 just because I think he's the 6th best player in the draft. So if you're one of the best players in the draft, you should be in play at 4 for New England, 5 for Jacksonville. The Jets at 7 are going to be all over him, obviously. And then you look at maybe the Bears at 10. And the absolute basement for him is the Colts. There's just no way he makes it by the Colts. I don't think he's even in the conversation there, though, because, it reminds me, I was doing a real deep dive the other night. I was watching when Jeremy Shockey was on the Giants, and then I watched when Jeremy Shockey was drafted out of Miami on the draft broadcast. They are the same exact player. This is like time traveling here. And it's not just the hair. It's the ability, once again, to play on the line of scrimmage, get off the line of scrimmage with speed, and challenge the seam, play above the rim, take hits, run through people. Obviously, they can hold their own on the line of scrimmage, really, as that not a sixth offensive lineman, but a adequate, capable blocker in the zone game, in the downhill game as well, with those heavy hands. Warren is just a really, really good talent that comes pro-ready, former high school quarterback. That's the kind of athlete we're talking about here at the tight end position. He's going to play at 260, so you love to see that as well. So, I mean, if somebody took him at 4 or 5, like, you don't kill him just because they took a tight end. He's one of the best players in the draft, and I think that's why he warrants that top 10 selection.
And this is an offense that needs weapons. Okay,
Yes.
so talk Tyler Warren there. Yeah. Colston Loveland. What do you see in him?
Loveland's really good. Another guy like Besh, in the category of best hands in the draft. He's a better route runner than Warren when they play him off the line of scrimmage in that F mold to kind of be a power slot. He's pretty shifty. He can, once again, climb the ladder. I think his best skill is honestly improvising when the play is extended. And Drake May's really good at that. A quarterback's running around. You need to flow with the quarterback. You need to be physical, and you need to kind of be your quarterback's best friend. I think Loveland's phenomenal at that. Better blocker than given credit for, especially in an athletic scheme that kind of gets him on the move and generates some momentum. Just want to see him healthy. Wasn't healthy this year, had the shoulder at the combine where, his playing weight's probably 255, and it was a little lower than that. So you just want Loveland to be healthy and consistently on the field. And obviously another guy that's one of the best players in the draft. I have him 15th overall.
Man, I love that. You see, there's so many weapons in this draft. 4 is a tough spot to be at. If you're at 8, 9, the board could fall to you. It makes it easy. There's also the pressure that comes with picking at 4.
Yes.
And as we just went everywhere. Tackle, defensive line, wide receiver, tight end, a little bit of running back mentioned. The Patriots need help everywhere in every position group room as well. Connor Rogers of NBC Sports. Man, you do such a good job, bro. I appreciate taking the time during the busiest 2 weeks of the year for you in life, man.
It's always great catching up with you guys. You guys obviously know the draft, and this is a huge one for New England, so I really appreciate you having me, and we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, hey, we'll do it soon. We got to break it down. We got to reconstruct it. Where did they go wrong? Where did they go right? I'll make sure, I'll give you, I guess, 72. I'll give you 128 hours. I don't even know if that's a full day.
There we go.
But I know you're going to need shut eye and the phone on Do Not Disturb right after the draft.
I get a day. I got to go to Kentucky for work, do fantasy football happy hour from Thursday at Derby, and then I'll be a human again after that. We'll be ready to roll.
Hey, it's fun. You're at the Derby. That's upside. Downside, you're with Matthew Berry, but upside, you're at the Kentucky.
Tough living. Yeah.
Connor, you do a great job. Catch him on
Connor.
NFL Stock Exchange, NBC Sports as well. Connor, you're the man. Thank you so much. The NFL draft is under a week away, so what do the Patriots do with the 4th overall pick? Tune into the special Foxborough Rush live show during the first round of the draft on Thursday night. Kicks off at 8 p.m. Watch myself and Travis Thomas on Nesson, or tune into the live stream on YouTube. Leave comments. We'll be up. No commercial breaks on the YouTube live stream. We'll take you through every pick, including the Patriots at 4. Also hear from NFL draft experts such as PFF's Trevor Sikkema, ESPN's Matt Miller, and NBC's, as you just heard him, Connor Rogers as well. That's a special live Foxborough Rush on Nesson and Nesson's YouTube page Thursday night, April 24th, starting at 8 p.m. All right, Trav, let's get into what's trending. I talked about it. Nico Iamaleava. Sounds like he's destroying his career. He officially entered the transfer portal with a do not contact tag. Now, his dad and a fellow representative that's helping out the family, they're doing all the negotiations. That do not contact tag is saying they're going to reach out to teams. Don't bother if we're not interested in you. Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
But man, this is a kid that's reportedly asking around $4 million a year in NIL.
He was making 2, allegedly.
Yeah. And he's not worth double the price.
Right.
This is whenever this stuff happens, there's someone wrong in that circle. There's someone that's delusional. And often it happens with family. Obviously his dad thinks he's worth more than $2 million. That's fair. But you got to go with the people that know what they're doing. Marketing agents, which you could have now in NIL. Also, you're in a good spot at Tennessee. That was a top 10 offense. You're in the college football playoff, making $2 million a year. Why leave? And it's that do not contact tag. That's just like an albatross in a way, a dark cloud over who is a promising prospect.
It's a shame too, because the kid has everything tools wise. It's almost like he was made in a lab. He's 6'6", 220. He can run. He's got a whip for an arm.
Yep.
He's smart. Listen, some of this stuff too, as I looked into this, George, a lot of it, and it's not going to surprise anyone, the drama is he didn't love the offense. He didn't love Tennessee's offense, doesn't feel like it's pro style. You should have thought about that before you ended up there.
Yeah.
I mean, some of this stuff, remember, he came in with that class with Arch Manning. If it wasn't for Arch Manning, this guy would be the guy, right? Well, Arch, when you think about the people around him, that last name, hello, his family, his team advising him, he's getting the best advice. This kid, not so much. My gut says, I think he's from SoCal. He's probably going to end up back on the West Coast. USC has money. You have Lincoln Riley. Maybe UCLA. I don't know.
His younger brother's committed to UCLA.
Is he? So I don't know if they have the same money as USC. I'm not as privy to that kind of information. So my gut is he's going to end up on the West Coast. But you're right, and you said it. The people advising this kid are that's who's screwing him over.
Yeah.
But in the end, I just want to see him play football. I think he has a really bright future.
Yeah.
But this is why. And I sound like old man who yells at clouds here, and that's fine. But college football, college sports in general, needs some guardrails.
Yeah.
With this NIL, with this transfer portal.
Yeah.
It is too wild, wild west right now, and that's why you're seeing things like this. This kid should be somewhere balling. Should be at Tennessee, but that's another topic for another day. He should be somewhere balling, no problem. Instead, we have all this drama. By the way, did you hear the rumor? Belichick and UNC
but then
kicked
they
the
backed
tires
out.
on him. Yeah, he's too expensive.
And they left, yeah.
It's too expensive.
That's Belichick. He's like, I have $20 million in NIL. That's the budget that the top programs have.
$4 million for one player.
His brother, by the way, flipped actually from UCLA to Arkansas. Maybe he goes down to Fayetteville. But then again, what are the Razorbacks going to pay him? Because then that's where his dad's going to have to eat the ego and go, fine, make the same money.
Yeah.
Maybe less. I don't know if Arkansas has Walmart money.
Yeah, but I would
But
think
I don't know if Arkansas can pay more than what the Vols were
that's
offering.
it. Wouldn't you think Tennessee would pay more?
I think they were like,
would.
hey, $2 million is what we got, and that's what we're sticking with.
And that's a fair number, by the way.
It's $2 million.
He wants $4 million, bro.
Yeah, no.
That's insane.
I get it. You ask for more, you meet in the middle, but I don't even think $3 million is what he's going to
By the way, going back to Arch, who's in his class, Arch went to Texas, and everyone's like, well, they already have a quarterback. What are you doing? He's perfectly fine. He's making NIL.
Yep.
It's his time now.
Yep.
It was the right decision. Teams surrounding you, helping you make these business decisions is what matters in college sports now.
I would have been fine with if they just kept everything in-house. You go in with that do not contact tag.
Yeah.
And then you just go to Arkansas, you pick it, but with everything having to be public.
Sure.
That's what miffs me on this. Hey, moving on to another quarterback at the pro level. Jalen Hurts been named the Time Magazine's 100 most influential people of 2025.
What?
Shout out to him.
I guess.
Good for him.
Influential?
Yeah.
What is he influencing?
I don't know, but, he's 26, played 5 years in the NFL, just won the Super Bowl. Big name. That's my thing with these lists. Like, what is the influence on him? I mean, he's just calm, cool, collective all the time. He's a winner, hard worker.
All those things you're
Made
naming.
his way from a second-round pick to Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Everything you named is interesting. He's 100 of the most interesting people. Influential?
What's the influence? I don't know.
Tush push?
His wardrobe, his fashion sense,
I don't
throwback.
know. Nah.
There's about the business.
There's other guys in the league that's more fashionable.
There's also, but if you also think of the other athletes on this, it's like Simone Biles is on this one, right? Like,
she's influential.
Yeah. All time, go Olympian.
Right.
That's influential.
Yeah.
The quarterback that dethroned Patrick Mahomes. That's what it is. Took down Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce.
That's influential.
Patrick Mahomes.
You're talking me into
Won a
this.
Super Bowl.
He's boring to me.
Yeah.
That's what when I think of his influence, he's boring as hell.
And that's his influence on the next era of quarterbacks.
Right.
Man. Keep it simple.
Keep it
Be
simple.
boring.
Keep the main
Work
thing the main
hard.
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's an influence.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It's just, I feel like at this point, it's whoever wins the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Whatever quarterback wins Super Bowl is the most influential guy.
Yeah.
You know who would have been more influential? Would be like a Saquon Barkley.
Oh, my God.
Reset the running back market.
Yes. A.J. Brown.
Took a risk,
Yes.
went to a better setting, and had the best year of his career.
That's a
I
great
can see
point.
that.
He's not even the most influential on his team. Saquon, A.J. Brown. There's other guys on that team that are way more influential. I
Jalen
would say.
Carter.
Right. But
Even Cooper DeJean.
Kudos. Cooper DeJean.
A white cornerback.
How about that?
An exciting white.
Listen, man. Kudos to Jalen Hurts. If this list were mine,
I don't hate
he would
it
be the
that
most
he's on it.
interesting. He'd be one of the most 100 interesting.
But he's not even that
influential-
interesting. He's boring.
Well, he's interesting in his story. I think his story and the traits that you said,
Yeah.
his character traits, hard work, put your head down. He is an interesting guy, even in his boringness. But influential tells me, like, I want to grow up and be like Jalen Hurts. The way Jalen Hurts does this, that, or the third. Outside of the push-tush, I don't see it. But I think you nailed it. Whatever quarterback wins the Super Bowl
That's just
will
what it's
be
always
on
gonna
this
be.
list. You have a official, like, you're already in. Whoever, they hold a spot on this list for whoever wins the Super Bowl quarterback. And that's it.
Too many lists.
Yeah.
Just like Times Magazine, I don't need your lists.
Yeah.
That's what I think it boils down to, too.
Yeah. All these lists need to
Forbes,
go away.
40 under 40.
Sexiest man in the
35
world.
under 35. Yeah, you won that 3 years in a row, right?
I did. I'm humble, though. I don't like to brag, but
What's the
I've
place
been
down
there,
in
done
what's
that.
it down in Maryland?
I've been there, done that.
The place down in Maryland, the beach.
The beach?
It's like there's a party scene down in Maryland. Or is
Yeah.
that Delaware?
What?
You know exactly what Ocean
Ocean City?
Yeah.
There's Ocean City, Jersey, too.
Yeah,
That's
but
why I was
Ocean City,
confused.
Maryland is where people from Jersey go to.
Really?
That's how you know it's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, it's a little destination.
All right.
There you go.
Ocean City. Is our Ocean City better than Jersey's?
I don't know, because I've never been
Because you've
either.
never been in the Maryland
We'll
one.
go this summer and test it out.
Is the Jersey one any good?
It's good, but I think Maryland's is better.
Oh, that's sad.
And I'll never say anything is better than what we got in Jersey.
Well, I will tell you this. I'm a big Cape guy now. I'm a Cape dude. I love the Cape. Finally went for the first time 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Maine. I'll take you to Maine. I'll show
Oh,
you.
I haven't done
North
Maine.
Shore is where it's at.
All right.
Better traffic.
All right.
WNBA, their most recent draft, became the second most viewed draft ever.
Wow.
Peaked at 1.46 million viewers, average 1.25. Now, it didn't beat last year's draft, but the year prior, the non-Caitlin Clark draft, because that's really the bar you got to measure.
Of course.
Beat it by 113%. The league keeps growing. I think that's what's big. A lot of big names taken in this draft, obviously highlighted by Paige Beckers, but this is what you want to see from that. It just continues to grow.
Yeah, I mean, the WNBA keeps winning here. You get Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. Now you bring in Paige Beckers.
Yep.
And we're going to see these rivalries play out. You know, Ante Campbell and I did something on Hold My Banner where we did a draft, WNBA draft preview and a review, winners and losers kind of things. And some of the comments were like, why do you guys keep talking about Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers? You can't talk about one without the other. Yeah. I mean, these two are going to be linked forever. They came in together with the same kind of hype. We saw them both grow in the college game and do the big things in the college game. And now Caitlin, of course, has gone on to the WNBA and is a superstar to the highest order. We believe Paige will do the same thing.
Yeah.
I think all three of these players are going to be linked forever and ever. Amen. And it's great for the WNBA. I even saw Paige Beckers invested in and will play in Unrivaled as well. So that league will grow. So as we talk about the Caitlin Clark effect, we're also going to see the Paige Beckers effect, and this is the first inkling of that.
And just wait for it would be year 3, next draft after that when Juju can be drafted. By
depending how she comes off that injury too.
She'll be fine.
We hope.
ACLs are all good.
We hope. AZ Fudd, another one. I mean, the WNBA is going to be in great shape here. I hope they get the labor dispute all figured out because they have an influx of young talent.
This is the leverage they want, though.
Yes.
Like, hey, you can't point to Caitlin Clark. Look, Caitlin Clark, no Angel Reese.
That's right.
And look at how the ratings did for the WNBA draft.
That's right.
And you bring up that Unrivaled league, going back to the most influential people, Breonna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, they were in the top 100 most influential people. They founded that league, obviously.
Wow.
$27 million in revenue in just 10 weeks and giving these athletes a place to make more money than they would make in the league. It's all about building up the leverage as they, like you said, they go into that CBA, the WNBA PA against the league, trying to figure out, more equal salaries for the revenue they're bringing in.
I know that's a hot button topic right now. I don't really think... I think it's more fodder than anything. I think they'll get a deal done and it won't be any issues. But I will tell you this. It is great for women's sports right now. Like, they got it going on. The WNBA and a bunch of other leagues are doing a great job. And as a girl dad, I thank them because I'm trying to get my daughter to play sports and get into sports. And when she sees WNBA and she knows who Caitlin Clark is and Angel Reese and Paige Beckers, it only helps to get me a superstar too. So thank you, WNBA. I'm trying, George. I'm like, work on your jumper.
Yeah, constant.
Come on. Come on.
I think what's big too is the leverage they have. Because if the WNBA wants to say, no, we're not going to agree, they'll be like, all right, we'll go Unrivaled.
Yeah, there's
we'll play
other
in
options.
Europe. That's the thing. The
There's
players have
other
options. The WNBA does not have options.
Well, I mean, Paige is making more in Unrivaled than she is in the WNBA.
Exactly. That's what all those players
insane.
are. Exactly.
It's insane.
For the most part. Hey, if you're enjoying the show, be sure to check out Nesson's daily sports podcast, Boston Has Entered the Chat. We talk about all the trending sports news in Boston, around the country, around the world. Available on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Twitch, YouTube, and wherever else you get your podcasts. All right, man. So playoffs are set for the Celtics.
Yeah.
Taking on the Magic after the Magic beat the Hawks in the play-in tournament. Not too worried about this opponent. Game 1 starts Sunday, Easter Sunday, 4:20.
Okay.
Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner.
Yep.
KCP, who hasn't been the KCP I expected to be with that team. But it's a team that can defend, is big, is long, have some perimeter shooting.
They're
Celtics
tough.
are still the Celtics.
Yeah, listen, the Magic are tough. They're young. They have a lot to prove. And again, this team overachieved, the Magic overachieved last season.
Yeah.
And when that happens, especially to a young team, George, you come into that next season with a ton of expectations. And sometimes young teams don't really know how to handle prosperity, for lack of a better word. And I think that's what happened with the Magic this season. I think coming in with a target on their back, they were not sneaking up on anyone. Coming in with a target on their back, I think they struggled with that early. Then they had injuries galore. Paolo got hurt. Wagner got hurt. They had injuries all up and down that roster, which is a very talented roster. And sure enough, they, eventually they would get one back, but then the other one would be out and vice versa. And then eventually they got healthy towards the end of the season, and they got into this spot. This is a dangerous young team. And I caution all of us, in the media, as fans, it's easy to say Celtics in 4, blah, 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 and it could be. But this is the kind of team that presents problems. A young, opportunistic, underachieving team that had injury issues all year.
Yeah.
I mean, they put it together at the right time, and all they need to do is win one game, especially early. They can win game 1, game 2 range, and they get that confidence working. All of a sudden, the Celtics have to work a little bit harder than we all think. My gut here, George, I'll take the Celtics in 5. I do believe the Magic
at a game.
I do. I think this is a really tough. Now, here's their.
They can't shoot, though.
They cannot score. They have scoring issues. They're a limited scoring team.
And guess what the Celtics can do?
Of course.
They can defend.
Of course.
Now, the matchup that the Magic do present, it's like you got Anthony Black, big 6 foot, 200-pound point guard, second year in the league, but one of their best defenders. Obviously, you have Franz Wagner,
Yes.
KCP, Paolo out on the wings. It's one of those, I think, game 1.5 are going to be tough.
Okay.
Like rock fight. But I think there's going to be that separation game 2, and then 3-4 is the runaway. Just because this Celtics team can defend, they buy in. It's full-on team basketball. They're super deep. They can rebound. They have the athleticism. They have the size, and they can score. And it's where you break it down that the Celtics have the 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 of the 5 best players in the series.
Yeah.
And that's what it was in the finals. And you saw what it was for them. Wasn't a thing, wasn't a worry. That's how I think it'll be against Magic, and that's why I think it could be a sweep.
Okay, you said game 1.5-ish, it would be tight.
Then I think
and then
3-4,
they
just
pull
break
away.
the spirit.
I get that way of thinking, and I actually think the same, except I'm just giving the Magic more credit than you. I think I'll go 1 or 2 games. I think the Magic will win one of those, and then in games 3, 4, 5, Celtics pull away. So we're not far off. I'm just giving the Magic more credit because one of the reasons I can talk them so fluently is because I lost a ton of money.
You're Mr. Magic.
Betting on the Magic this season. Last season, I did great.
Yeah.
And then I came in with the expectation, like, here we go. They're going to be one of the top teams in the East. Incorrect. Now, again, it was injuries, but this is a talented team. And I just could see, and maybe you steal a game 1 or a game 2. I think the Magic will win a game, but it doesn't really matter whether it's a sweep or a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah.
They're going to get their arse kicked. I'm looking more to the East outside of Cleveland. Who the hell can push this Boston Celtics team? And I don't really believe there's anyone there. I mean, Giannis is Giannis, of course, but we don't know the health of Dame. And even if he comes back, what percentage is he?
Yeah.
The Knicks have already proven they can't beat elite teams, Boston included. The Pacers, no one believes in. The Pistons feel ahead of schedule. They're kind of like the Magic. Good defense, tough team, but not on the level as the Celtics. I just think Cleveland's the only shot to push the Celtics. And by the way, let's define push. What is it, 6 games? Okay. Yeah. I don't think it will be as dominant of a championship run as we saw last season from the Celtics, but certainly in the East, I don't think they get pushed, George. Magic or otherwise.
I think finals will be a lot tougher.
I just
think when you look at this Magic team, they're deep. They have the shooters. Whether it's a KCP, Anthony Black can ring it from 3 as well, but he's more of like an inside type scorer. But it's just they have the depth of the scorers, even a Tristan Da Silva, the big that they drafted out of Colorado.
I like him.
That's, again, they have the depth, but it's like having the dude. Where Paolo Banchero, I love him, really refined. Similar game, like a less explosive Jason Tatum is his game, right? Really refined, really technical.
Yeah.
Can like lull you to sleep. It's not exciting, but his fundamentals are so good. And he can score at every level that you just enjoy to watch him. Yeah. And he brings it on both ends of the floor. But it's just like Tatum eliminates Banchero. We'll see what Jaylen Brown's like with his knee getting the injections, but he eliminates a Franz Wagner.
Allegedly, he's fine.
Drew Holiday, that eliminates an Anthony Black. There's no Jalen Suggs in this. Right. And that's where it's just you go position by position. They just have the upper hand and everything. Yeah. This is a good Magic team, but you need that elite scoring and you need the shooting, especially this time of year, and they just don't have it. And they do a good job running their opponents off the three-point line, but it's just on the other end, they just can't match threes.
Okay, walk with me. So we agree no one in the East will push the Celtics except maybe the Cavs, but it sounds like we both think 6 games for them.
Yeah.
But we both did in unison say the finals for Banner 19 will be much tougher than Banner 18. Who are the suspects? I mean, Thunder, Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets. I'm taking the Nuggets out. Agree?
No Rockets.
Oh, see, I believe in the young Rockets. I would not be shocked if it's Boston, Houston in the finals, and we see our old friend Ime.
That would be so shocking.
What has me, I would not be shocked.
How good this Warriors team is now.
Okay, so that's
Jimmy
where I was
Butler
going.
running that second unit.
They have to get out of that series, and then
then they got to beat the Thunder. This is still a young team, and experience matters.
I have more confidence in the Rockets upsetting the Thunder than I do the Warriors.
If the Rockets had, like, if they got Jimmy Butler at the trade deadline, because they need that veteran experience. You need more than Dylan Brooks. It's a young team. You need actual vets that are big-time players on that team. Ime Udoka is a great coach. Like, he will make it a series with the Warriors, but watching Jimmy Butler, how he runs a second unit, how connected they are offensively and defensively, both ends of the floor, and Steph is Steph.
Okay, time out.
You need that Rockets team to get past the Warriors.
Okay, time out. The way you're talking, sir.
Yes.
Are you suggesting that perhaps the Warriors could be the opponent for Banner?
That's something where I would not be shocked if it's the Warriors. And this is like the last push. They pushed all the buttons the right way. They have a big and quick post that can shoot and rim protect, right? Okay, who does he match up with? Then that's KP. And it's the same thing, matches up with Chet and protects the rim against the Thunder. What they have in Jimmy Butler, being that floor general on both ends of the floor, and again, running the second unit, being deep. If they can win the non-Steph minutes, that's what's essential for the Warriors, and they flashed that.
Time out! Thunder?
I still think it's Thunder in the finals.
Okay, all right. I was going to say, in terms of confidence.
The combos I entertain is Thunder, Lakers, Warriors.
Whew. Gosh, the NBA wins.
Oh,
right?
With all of that, yeah.
With all of them. Every storyline. Thunder, SGA, it's his time. Young team, trying to dethrone the champs. Yeah. I mean, Lakers, Celtics, what do I need to say, right? And then, obviously, Steph back here again against the Celtics. Man, the NBA would win. The NBA would hate my finals. Like Celtics, Rockets, no one outside of this market, and probably Houston, cares about the Ime storyline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one cares about that. What is this, like All My Children? It's not soap opera. But, I disagree with you. Here's my confidence level. I don't know why. I'm not buying the Thunder. Everyone's putting them in the finals. This is still a young team. They were the youngest number 1 seed ever in the history of this league last season. Yeah. And they didn't, they got a little bit of playoff experience. I think they went out in the second round. I'm not just putting them in the finals. I hear you with the Lakers, veteran team, Luka and LeBron. I could see it. I'm not there with the Warriors. I don't have as much confidence as you. I just like the Rockets style. I like that it's defense first.
Yeah.
Their coach is elite. We all know that around here. I'm going to tell you something. Hot take. I think we're getting Lakers Celtics. And the ratings will just be absurd.
Yeah.
And Luka will lose again to the Celtics.
In 5.
Yeah. It won't be entertaining. But
the way the Celtics
the ratings will be insane.
Thunder would be so much more entertaining. I think the ratings would be insane for game 1 and 2.
And
then everyone
for
tunes
Thunder?
out. No, for Lakers, Celtics. And the Celtics are just going to beat their ass.
Bro, are you kidding?
Dude,
the
Luka,
ratings would be insane every game.
We just saw it last year.
It's Celtics-Lakers.
Yeah, but it's just going to be so lopsided.
Blowouts.
And it's, again, how they match up with Luka. Exactly.
Yeah,
I think Thunder Celtics. Yes, it's not Lakers Celtics, But Thunder Celtics, that still is an SGA in that brand.
You believe in them pretty heavy.
They're deep. They made a deep run.
I don't believe it.
They can defensively match up. They can shoot. They can score. And this Lakers team is just still missing a piece. Luka's good. Needs to be in better shape.
They have a rim protector.
Just because it was a bad trade doesn't mean it went away. Yeah, they need a rim protector.
Yeah.
And for LeBron, it's just how is he going to match up in a 7-game series?
Right.
With this really tough West.
Yeah. And Luka's conditioning we've seen in the finals is not the best.
He does. He runs out of gas. That is something he needs to take serious, and you hope that's something he picks up.
He doesn't have Kyrie to bail him out this time.
No, exactly. He's Travis Thomas from George Balekji. This is Boston's End of the Chat. Appreciate you guys making us a part of your day. Make sure to catch new episodes wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. You can also watch on YouTube for Double T and GB. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one, everyone.